Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode here in NHL 22. Yes, we finally get to be able to actually record an episode after we won our first Stanley Cup in the last episode you guys saw. Those were all pre-recorded episodes, the playoff ones, so I was lucky enough to get those out while there was that problem with franchise mode. But we're back up here finally because franchise mode is finally fixed, and hopefully we can get another Stanley Cup win. The last episode was really fun. It was a very tight series with Detroit. I think we went all 7 games. But then we managed to come out on top and win our first Stanley Cup. So that was really awesome. We got really good scoring throughout our entire lineup. But yeah, this team had to go through a lot of changes just to get to that point, because over the last 3 or 4 seasons, we've brought in a lot of new players. We've gotten rid of a lot of guys that were with this team since the beginning. And yeah, this team definitely went through a big phase of the changes. But now we're up here in the offseason looking to potentially get ourselves set up for another second Stanley Cup if we can. That would be really nice to win another Stanley Cup, considering we do have another, I'd say 12 or more seasons left of this franchise mode. I did actually put a poll on the community tab, and a lot of you guys want me to continue this series all the way to the end of the franchise mode. So we are going to be playing out this franchise mode right till the very end of the 25 years. So that might be a long time away, but we are eventually going to get into some throwback series regardless. But I am very excited to play out the rest of the series because there's a lot of fun players in this series, like Shelley, for example, and Agostino, that I'm very curious to see how their careers kind of wrap up and that type of thing. So should be very interesting in that case. But anyways, before we get into the draft in the Resign Stage, we do have a few comments to go over. So the first one is from Half Silly. He says, "We exist, Gary," and he also says, "Just don't relocate us to Houston or Quebec or whatever." So yeah, that is true, because Arizona's been through a little bit of a lot of problems, I guess, in a sense, with attendance and whatnot. But from what I see it, I think Arizona just has problems with attendance because of the fact that the arena is pretty far away for most people to travel to. It's the same thing as here in Ottawa. So I think Arizona should obviously stay in Arizona, and I don't think they should ever relocate. So that's my personal opinion on that. The next comment is from Pens Gaming 7. He says, let's go. Finally won a cup. Glad to see it pay off in the end." And he said he would personally like to see a new series at the end of this with a Stanley Cup win. But like I said, I think I am going to be going through the end of the 25 years, because over 50% of you said you want me to play right to the end. So that's definitely what I think I'm going to do, since more than half of you said to do that. Now, I understand doing just maybe one more season and stuff like that, but I kind of want to see more of these players' careers and whatnot. And then I'll do a recap kind of thing at the end of it, so we could kind of see who did what for us during the entire time in this franchise mode. And the last and final comment is from HawksFan88. He says, "Lord Stanley is coming to the desert. Also, I think Burkhoff is the guy to go for in the draft, and I would really like to try and get Byfield back. I would also let go of Pedersen just because you have another starting caliber goalie in Hornquist. Also, I feel like 2035 might be a good stopping point, since I love to see a throwback franchise mode." So we will get to a throwback franchise mode more than likely when the Houston series ends, because that one might end a little bit quicker, just because there's a chance we might not make the playoffs for a lot of times. But we'll see. And we'll definitely do a throwback series this year, but not for now, because I want to kind of win more cups here in Arizona first if we can. But I do agree with what he was saying in trying to go for somebody like Burkhoff in the draft, because we definitely could use, I think he was a forward prospect if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I recorded, obviously, since of this bug issue. He's a defenseman, okay. So yeah, I think it kind of makes sense. He's NHL ready as well. And yeah, he looks like he's going to be probably pretty good. There's a lot of actually good defensemen in this draft, but it gives us a two-way defenseman to kind of replace a guy if we end up losing, say, Jacob Chikrin to retirement in the next few seasons, that type of thing. So it's always good to replenish our defensemen with more younger defensemen that could still play the same type of roles. And he was also mentioning to try and get Byfield back in to let go of Pedersen. I think that's probably the best move. We will probably wait to sign Byfield till one of the last few days of the Resign Stage, because I want to make sure I have enough cap space for everybody else first. That's more important. But I think definitely Pedersen is gone, which is unfortunate, because he's had some really good years, but he's had some really bad years as well. He does want an extension, but when you go to offer an extension, giving him an 8 or 7-year extension at 8.4 is a bit too much for a goalie. You never really want to pay a goalie more than $5 million in this, because if you do, then they don't start, like, they don't really play that great in the playoffs and stuff like that. Like, you could play like 700K to a goalie and win a Stanley Cup, so I don't think it's worth really paying him that much. But we do have a lot of guys locked up for long-term deals, so basically our team is going to probably end up losing some decent players. A lot of our RFAs were just going to be qualifying so we could try and get their asking prices down and whatnot. So yeah, that's that, and let's get into this draft and see what we could do here. Hopefully we could have a pretty good draft, just to give ourselves more depth in terms of our prospect pool, because if we do that, then we could be easily a contender for a long time around. But then again, we've been making the playoffs the last few years, and then we lost in round one like 5 straight seasons, but hopefully we can go for back-to-back Stanley Cups. That'd be pretty nice. So we're obviously going to be all the way back here at number 31, if I'm not mistaken. 32, never mind, because there's 32 teams. I always forget that now. But let's take a look at the top 5 players in this year's draft. So Edmonton at number 1 is going to take McCarty, who is a medium franchise playmaker. So that's a pretty good pick for them. I don't know if they still have McDavid or if McDavid retired. I can't remember if we're that far in yet or not. Yeah, I don't remember, but regardless, they get a really good player for their team. Carolina at number 2 is going to take a power forward in Keeler. Sean Keeler. I almost said Keller, but it's Keeler. Interesting. This guy could throw some hits and whatnot. Then we go to number 3, and Ottawa is going to take Walters. Isaac Walters, a center playmaker, was it, or two-way? Center two-way. Pretty good defensively, pretty good offensively, a lot of good X factors as well. Vegas at number 4 is going to take Phaneuf, who's a center sniper. You don't really see a lot of center snipers that often. Jerome Phaneuf, no X factors though, but very good shooting categories, so that guy's probably going to score a lot. And Vancouver at number 5 is going to take Hartnell, who is an 80 overall offensive defenseman, so that's a pretty good thing to build up on your back end, I guess. So that is the top 5 players in this year's draft. Let's sim to our pick and see if we can get Burkhoff. I think we might still have an opportunity to get Burkhoff. Yeah, we do. Okay, good. So these teams really just botched the picks with all these top 9s and top 6s. Like, how did they not see an NHL-ready player? It's beyond me, but we're going to take an NHL-ready defenseman in Burkhoff. Even though there's a couple other ones, like there is also Cunningham, who is also NHL-ready apparently. And then there's also Harold Eves, who's a couple years out, but a gem of a top 6 forward. So, yeah, let's just take Andreas Burkhoff from Germany and see how good he is. Since we're the last team in the draft, we're going to have to constantly go back to see how good our players are, which is kind of annoying. 79 overall, that's actually way better than I expected. He actually is listed as a top 6 defenseman, because sometimes when you draft like an NHL-ready top 4 defenseman, they're like a 77, 78, I find. But this guy's legitimately a player that could jump right to our top 6 pairings if we really want to. And he does have X factors as well. He has Heat Seeker, and he also has In Reverse, so he's good at back skating, and he's also good at taking shots from the point. That's not too bad. I definitely like that pick here. And since he was playing in Germany, that also makes it a bit interesting, because that means he could, what is it? That means he could play in our AHL team right away if we really wanted. But we don't have a second round pick in this year's draft. I forgot that we got rid of a lot of our picks. So if I look at our draft board, what we got for picks again, we still only have a 3rd, a 4th, a 5th, and a 6th, and a 7th. So we didn't have a second, but we have still the rest of our picks, which is good if we really want to bring in more prospects. So let's zoom to our next pick at number 96, see what we can get here in the 3rd round if this draft still has good players. Top 9s, not really great, but I mean, it's better than nothing. A couple low top 9s and medium top 9s. Any random steals that I could grab here? Maybe a low lead offensive defenseman. I might have to take Festerling, just because he might be low lead. He's already 19 now, which is a bit questionable. I'm going to take him, might as well. Jose Festerling, welcome aboard. And of course I have to go back, which is really annoying. I wish it wouldn't do that, but it does do that. He's a low top 4. Okay, so that's not great, but it's not bad either. Might be something at the AHL level, maybe the NHL level. Let's zoom to our next pick in this 4th round. There's a medium backup, but yeah, the rest of this draft class is not that great, which isn't bad because we are a deep team, so I don't really care if this draft class is that good or not. But let's see, Del Rovere. They're recommending us here either Martins or Junior Jacobs, which is kind of a cool name. So you know what, we're gonna go with Junior Jacobs just for the name. because I don't really care. I'm not going to look at his potential on this just because it's going to take too long to keep going back and stuff. So, we got a choice between some defensemen maybe, and the rest of his draft class is not looking great. Any guaranteed low leads still available? Yes, there is. A two-way defenseman that's supposed to go in the 7th round. I'm going to take him already. Aiden McGrath. 5 years out, but he's only 18, so that's a good pick right there. Let's see what overall was. He's probably a 50-something, right? My guess, 52 overall. Yeah, but at least he has potential. Or he can become trade bait. That offensive awareness and defensive awareness is terrible, but he definitely could be something maybe. Our next pick here in the 6th round, Maxwell Brennan. Do we need another goalie? I don't even really know what we got in our system anymore because it's been a while since I've recorded this. I'm going to auto-sim the rest of his draft. It's just not good enough for me to really look through this and try and find the best prospects. So there you go. There's the rest of our draft. So afterwards, we got Skinner and Morgan. Interesting. But Burkhoff was a pretty good pick. Should be able to help us right away if we end up losing somebody on the defensive core. Okay, so let's get into this resign stage now and see how much cap space we have to get some of these guys back. Because like I said, we probably are right up against the cap floor. Yeah, 26.35 million. We have all these RFAs to qualify, so I will qualify all of them that are NHL and AHL, because there's a lot of NHL ones. Glad they're RFAs, though, because that way we could retain their rights. So we'll qualify a lot of them. And that is that. Goalie-wise, there's also Hornquist, which I don't want to give him $3 million to, so we'll qualify him as well. And then we'll get into the UFAs. So let's go to the bottom of this good old list here and let go of some of these prospects that aren't going to make it, because we definitely don't need them. Hemingway, 65 at 19. I don't really know. Was a 4th rounder. Has decent stats, but I really don't know if he's worth signing since he's got bottom 6 potential. Kobasu is the same type of boat. Both of them are rated around this exact same, so I'm going to let go of both of them, even though they could probably be an AHLer. And we are going to sign Lorenzo. He was a former 2nd round pick. He's a 69 at 20. Top 9 potential. Might get to a 76. And then comes our AHL players we got to re-sign. So Hordichuk's definitely going to play in the AHL this year. Ortmeyer, I'd like to keep him around if I can, because he's still got X factors, and he's a really good AHL player. Might be one of the best AHL players I've had, so I'm going to try and keep him around for the AHL team, just because for morale reasons. We are going to let go of a lot of the depth that we just signed and picked up in, last offseason. So like Asplund for now is gone. Gallant was good in the playoffs, but he wasn't really anything in the regular season. Like, he had 5 points while we had those injury problems going on. So, I mean, I could re-sign him, but I really don't know if it's worth it, because he's just an extra depth type of option. He only wants a 2-way deal, so we might try and re-sign him, because might as well for depth purposes. And then Wolf also wants a 2-way deal. So, you know what? We're going to re-sign both of them up, because, I mean, to get a depth option that's wanting a 2-way deal, we might as well re-sign them. Sapolvyov, though, 1975. How much points did he have? 23 points. It's not bad. 7 assists in the playoffs. He's a 3rd-line scoring for it as well. What do we got here, though, for the rest of these guys? I gotta let go of Lambos for sure, I think. We traded for him, but it was mainly just to help us out for the playoffs. And I don't think I could, risk paying him $6 million. So, yeah, Lambos is gone. Thank you for helping us win a Stanley Cup. And if you're still available at some point, maybe we'll bring you back. But for now, we're going to let you go, which is definitely a tough one to do. But I think it makes sense for this team to let him go for now, just because of all the RFAs and also because of Quinton Byfield. So that is good. So Polvyov, I think I might try and just give him that. Yeah, I'm going to try and just give him that. That's relatively cheap. And then McGillis is also relatively cheap. He only wants 3 years. Would you take 1.8 for 3 years? Because that's a pretty good deal, I'd say, for a bottom 6 type of option. Even if he gets replaced, that's a movable contract. So, and then we go to goalies. Let's do this first before we risk with Byfield. I am going to let go of Pedersen, which is definitely something that you guys, some of you might think is questionable, but it's not worth paying him $8 million for 7 years when we have like Hornquist. And then Galiev is also in the minors. Like, Hornquist has had some really weird seasons. He's had some really bad seasons. He's probably one of the best goalies we've had on this team throughout this franchise mode. And he was really good when he came back in the playoffs after his injury. But unfortunately, he's got to go because of salary cap reasons. And yeah, best of luck, Stefan Pettersson. That's a big one to let go of, but I think it had to be done. So, and then Quinton Byfield, what do you want? 9.6. I'm going to wait to the last day of free agency and see if I could maybe get him back. I think. Let's just get through all this stuff here. Sapolvyov rejected, which is interesting. Gallant also rejected. Let me try and talk him up to 900k. I wouldn't mind keeping Sapolvyov on this team, so I'll give him $2 million for 1 year. McGillis rejected, so we'll just give him what he wants. And then, yeah, like I said, I'm waiting on Byfield for now. And all these RFAs are probably going to take up a lot of the remaining cap space, so I don't know how much we're going to be able to give to Byfield. Let's advance another day. And we got those guys instead for McGillis. Let me try and give McGillis a little bit more. $2 million for 3 years is even still a good contract, I'd say, personally. We do have to still give Hornquist money. Yeah, we're probably not going to be able to give Byfield a whole lot, so hopefully we don't lose Byfield. McGillis, stop rejecting. You're an important part of this team. We'll give you 2.25. That might be an overpayment for like a bottom sixer, but still. He's an important part of this team. And he's going to renew, which is good. Okay, so we have $24 million to get all these RFAs back, which a lot of them are just going to take two-way deals. Penner's going to want a two-way deal as well. DeMaio, how much is he wanting? $2 million. That's $3 million if you add Redmond, or $4 million, I should say. There's like $8 million. There's like $10 million. Shishkinov brings that up to 13. Sasaki brings that up to like 18 to 20k or 20 million, and that's like 23 million. So I don't think we could afford Quinton Byfield. I mean, a lot of those RFAs might drop their price by quite a bit. But I don't know if they'll drop it by that much. I mean, worst case scenario, if we sign Byfield, we could trade him away eventually, just because we need to have that cap space for the RFAs. So for now, I am going to try and re-sign him, but hopefully you could get those RFAs to drop their asking price a lot, so it's like kind of justified that we're signing him right now. So 1 year at 9.4, let's just do that for Byfield and see if they'll accept that. Might be an overpayment, but let's do that. And he's going to reject it. I'm not too happy being on this team anymore. He wants to go separate ways, apparently. Some of our RFAs are already accepting, which is good. But apparently he wants to part ways, which is interesting after winning a Stanley Cup. I don't know if it's just because of how he played in the playoffs. I'm going to still try and get him back for 1 year, but he rejected, how much was it that he rejected? Like 9 million? Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to get him back. Do we need him back? Probably not. Because if we look at our top 6 forwards, our entire forward core without him, we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it does make us quite a bit weaker. But Geeky could be our first line center. Aho could be a second line center because he is dropping. And then we just need somebody else to get into that top 6 role that's a bit cheaper than somebody like Byfield. So I think Byfield is gone. Yeah, I think Byfield's gone. I wanted to keep him around because Hawks fan mentioned it, but I don't think it's really we need him, because with all these RFAs, they're going to be our first priority, getting them back, and then we need to just find ourselves at a random top 6 forward that's probably asking for only $5 million instead of like $9 million, and then we should be able to still have cap space, which is good. So yeah, I think Quinton Byfield is gone. He wants to test free agency anyways, so best of luck in free agency, Byfield. If you drop your asking price and you're still there within like a month, maybe we'll bring you back. There's always that case. So that is all the UFAs, and then our RFAs are all qualified, which is good. Yep, that's all good. Okay. So now that that is good, let's into free agency and see what is out there. And what do we actually need first? So let's take a look at our contract situation and our roster here. So if we look right now, forward-wise, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's a ton of 78s. There's a lot of good depth down there, and then there's also all our RFAs that are still unsigned. So we probably don't need any forwards, I'd say. Defensively, what do we got here? We got 1, 2, and then RFA-wise, actually, we need to sign Burkhoff. We didn't sign Burkhoff yet. We'll sign him up. So that gives us 3 defensemen. And then we got 4, 5, 6. And then Bilesma as well. We might be good for a defenseman, to be honest. Or we could just sign another one. I think Bilesma might get another year in the AHL. Who knows? But yeah, defensively, we might not need a whole lot. We might need a depth defenseman at most. And then goalie-wise, in the main roster, we'll have Hornquist eventually. We'll need probably a backup because I don't really know if I trust Galiev, even though he played good in the playoffs. So, yeah, we'll probably just need a backup, maybe in a depth defenseman, and that's pretty much it. And maybe a top 6 forward if we really wanted to upgrade our top 6 more again. Since we could technically not, we don't have to play some of these 78s that are down there in the AHL. So if we're looking at our best forwards out there, there is some really good players out there if we really wanted to bring them back, or bring players in. Conley at 12 million. Geez, that's another former Dallas Stars player, right? Yep, that's what I thought. Dallas is a tire fire in this, but there's a lot of good players out there. I just don't really know what we want to bring in. We want to bring on somebody on a decent contract, maybe. 27, McDermott. Wait, that was the guy that was in St. Louis. This guy's pretty good. I've seen him score a decent amount of goals at some case. Yeah, he had a 40-goal season a few years ago. Might be intriguing, but he wants $6 million. This guy's only wanting... Oh, it's Josh Norris. He only wants $1 million for an 84. Has he played in the last few seasons? No, he has not. I mean, that might be intriguing to bring in Josh Norris for our top 6. As a replacement for... Byfield or something. If we want to bring in a depth defenseman, we could bring in, let's see what we got here. There's quite a few 80 overalls. There's also this Millman dude, Wes Millman. That might be intriguing, but he wants 2.8. What do we got for actual depth defenseman? A lot of 79s as well. Yeah, there's definitely options out there for a depth defenseman, which is good. Low late here, 78 at 24. Is he a UFA or an RFA? A UFA. This guy might be perfect. He's a top 6 defenseman, though, but he's got really good defensive awareness. I don't know. So there's that, and then we need a backup goalie for sure with the amount of cap we have. Beauregard, 82 at 25. Only wants 825K. Beauregard might be not bad. Doesn't have great statistics. Willis as well as there. So there's a couple of former medium elite goalies. There is definitely stuff out there for a backup role, which is good. Like if we wanted to, we could sign this guy up for 2 years at 825K. He's barely played in the NHL, but he has shown good glimpses in the AHL before. And in the NHL actually for this area right there. So that is what's available in free agency. And finally, we'll take a look at what's available on the trading block if we want to actually make any trades or not. But like I was saying, I don't really think we need a whole lot because we have a lot of RFAs at the moment. So, but Fabro, Dobson's on the block, our former player. What else we got here? A lot of draft picks. Not really anything on the block so far. Yoki Haru. But like I said, I don't really want to bring in like a 78 overall. I would rather bring in somebody via free agency instead of trade probably at this stage. Yeah, there's not really a whole lot. Heedle 9785 though. That's a big expensive. Glass is making a big contract. Yeah, I don't really want anybody that's making a huge contract to bring in for our top 6. Studnicka. Rupe Hintz on 1 year. 578. That's not bad. Might be a decent replacement for Byfield, but I feel like he might drop off a lot, if I'm being honest. Robert Thomas, only 81 though. Nothing really in Pittsburgh. Brady Tkachuk on 1 year left, but $9 million. That'd be really nice for the top 6, but is he worth paying $9 million to after that season in San Jose? Probably not. I mean, he did have some good seasons in Ottawa, and he did beat us in the Stanley Cup Finals a few years ago. Owen Tippett, Sofolov. Damn, Owen Tippett's making almost $10 million as an 82. That is ridiculous. His value is way low because of that. Jamie Drysdale, Cal Foote, Braden Schneider. Toronto, nothing really. Clem Costin, or Costin, whatever you want to say. Hendrix Lapierre. And I think it's pretty much it. Yeah, that's all that's on the block. So nothing really huge on the block. But we don't really need to bring in a whole lot anyways, because like I said, our roster right now has a lot of good players on it. And then we also have all these RFAs that are going to be re-signing soon. And then our team's going to be even better because we have 3 of them that are going to be on our defensive core. And then 3 of them are going to fill out our forward core even more. So I don't think it really matters to bring in much players. Yeah, we have Hornquist as well. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode. So next episode, we will take it to free agency and we'll start simulating the season. And yeah, hopefully this team can get off to a good start again next season and maybe go for another chance at another Stanley Cup. So let me know down below, and I'll see you guys next time.